Alright, let's solve this using integration by parts. So I'm going to have my u equals x, which means du equals dx. My dv is going to be my tangent squared 10x. That was supposed to be a closed parentheses there. And so then my v is I'm going to have to integrate this tangent squared 10x dx. So let's go ahead and do that first. So I want to find my integral tangent squared 10x dx. Remembering that tangent squared is the same as the secant squared minus 1. And I can separate that as secant squared 10x minus the integral of the 1 dx, which my secant squared with the 10 inside becomes 1 over that 10. Integrate secant squared becomes tangent squared 10x, and then integrate 1 just becomes x. So I have my pieces here, which means if I write this out, going from here, this is going to equal my u times my v, which I just got. So 1 over 10 tangent squared 10x minus x. And I'm going to be evaluating that from 0 to pi over 30. And then minus my integral from 0 to pi over 30 of 1 over 10 tangent 10x minus x dx. Alright, so there's my pieces of what I'm going to do. Alright, once again, let's kind of do a side note. Let's go ahead and find this, so we'll just be able to plug everything in. So I can bring the 1/10 out front. So I have 1/10, and then as I integrate my tangent of 10x, I have 1 over the 10. So that's my second one. And this is going to give me ln of secant 10x minus my x becomes x squared over 2. And I'm going to evaluate this from 0 to pi over 30, which is going to be, now let's just continue on from here. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in for my x's. I'm going to plug in the pi over 30. So that will be x is pi over 30 times 1/10 tangent squared times 10 times pi over 30, or 10 pi over 30, minus this x pi over 30. And then technically you're now supposed to plug in the 0. Well, I can see when I plug in 0 that that entire piece is going to end up being a 0. And now minus all this junk up here. So this junk up here, if I can get this to fit, probably won't, is I'm going to have minus a 1 over 100, my 10 times 10, ln of the secant of 10 pi over 3. And then, and that's absolute value, minus, so I'm right here, and that's going to be pi over, I'm sorry, that should be 30, pi over 30 squared over 2. So that's just evaluating this piece here at pi over 30. I still have to do the minus and evaluate it at 0. So 1 over 100 ln of secant of 10 times 0 minus 0 squared over 2. Okay, so hopefully that's kind of readable. And now I just start looking at things and seeing what's going on here. This, of course, this piece right here, of course, is going to be pi over 3, and the tangent of pi over 3 is the square root of 3. This piece right here is going to be the secant of pi over 3, or you could say the 1 over the cosine, which is 1/2, or we flip it over, we get 2, so that piece is 2. So let's just write all that stuff in. So I'm just starting from right here, pi over 30 times 1 over 10 times the square root of 3 minus pi over 30, so that's that piece, minus 1 over 100 ln of 2 plus, let's just go ahead and square this out, so that becomes pi squared over 90 over 2, I mean over 900 over 2, which becomes pi squared over 1800. And let's see if we can get this to fit on one line now. And this becomes minus 1 over 100. Didn't mention right here, this is going to be secant of 0, which is going to be 1. So that's going to give us ln of 1. And then, of course, that piece is 0. Now, also remembering that we know ln of 1 is 0, that piece goes away too. So it gets a little bit better. So that piece is gone. Now all I'm going to do is distribute things out, meaning I'm going to distribute this, and so I'm going to end up with the square root of 3 pi over 30, 300. Forgot to multiply the denominators. Minus, if I multiply this one out, I'm going to get pi